Alrighty. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Hot Topic Tuesday. So today the topic is the most important nutrient for fat burning. And surprisingly, this may actually be different than what most of y'all think. Yeah, I think a lot of times now, a lot of people think you eat fat to burn fat, but it is actually, I don't have my drum roll, protein. We had some sound effects. So it's actually protein. So this will be a quick one today, and we're just going to go over some of the reasons why protein is the most important nutrient for fat burning. So that being said, the top one is that protein boosts our metabolism. Protein requires more energy to digest than fats and carbohydrates. So this is also known as the thermic effect of food, meaning our bodies actually burns more calories breaking down and digesting protein in comparison to fats and carbohydrates. Consuming protein can increase our metabolic rate by 15 to 30% compared to only 5 to 10% for carbs and 0 to 3% for fats. So that's the first one. The second one is reduces cravings. When we're in a calorie deficit, it is normal to be hungry and it's normal to have cravings. And I did want to give a friendly reminder to Trish. I think that you should copyright this because Trish has said multiple times in the past, hunger is not an emergency. I think you need to copyright that. But so the second one is that protein reduces cravings. High protein meals promote satiety and it helps us feel full for longer periods of time. And this will reduce the likelihood of overeating and snacking on unhealthy foods, which in turn will support our weight loss efforts. Um, we tend to whenever our primary goal is fat loss or to burn fat, obviously it does require somewhat of a calorie deficit. And being in a calorie deficit, if we're not eating meals that are satiating or making us feel full, then in turn we can kind of pick and want a snack. And a lot of times those snacks and nibbles and bites can actually add up, to quite a bit more calories. So protein will make us, help reduce cravings and make us feel more satiated. The third one is it preserves muscle mass. So during the course of weight loss, it's crucial to maintain muscle mass to keep our metabolism high. Protein is essential for muscle repair and growth, ensuring that we lose fat and not muscle as we lose weight or lose body fat. I've seen it so many times of, it's super, super important as we lose weight, like we want to maintain the muscle mass that we have to, keep our metabolism as high as possible. But also, we don't want to lose weight and then just look like a skinnier version of what we were. It's kind of called like skinny fat, where you lose so much weight and then you have all this loose skin and everything's just like flop down, So in turn, it's very, very important that as we lose weight or lose body fat, that we are preserving muscle mass in return. And Trish is going to take the other three.
Yes. Okay. So number four, April mentioned this kind of in the first little topic, but it deserves a whole nother mention on its own. But we're going to go back to that thermic effect of food. That one is huge. Like as April said, protein definitely has the highest thermic effect in our body compared to fats and carbs. So this means that your body's just going to burn more calories processing protein. So as you're eating protein, it takes a little bit more energy to kind of process it, digest it, shuttle it to where it needs to go. This can definitely contribute to more fat loss and then a more efficient metabolism. And it's interesting because I've even noticed in some tracking apps, I think specifically Chronometer, they do have where you can set that thermic effect of food into your energy burn, which I kind of think is pretty cool that you can do that because it can take a little bit of a hit for sure. And, that's why in fat loss, oftentimes, we may suggest like going a little bit higher in the protein for the satiety effect. That's a huge one, but also to capitalize on the, thermic effect of food and then also preserving that muscle mass, which is huge. So number five, this was kind of a newish to me. One, I hadn't really seen much about this before, but I find it really interesting. Leucine threshold. So leucine is an essential amino acid that plays a critical role in muscle protein synthesis, which is super important. So we need enough leucine, and it's about 2.5 grams per meal, and that will kind of help stimulate our muscle growth and the maintenance and preservation of that muscle. Foods rich in leucine, those would be your lean meats, your dairy, legumes. This can help you reach it. So, including protein, at every meal is going to be super important to, maintain that threshold there. That will support fat burning and muscle preservation. And years ago, I actually worked with we like to have our own coaches sometimes. I worked with a nutrition coach that worked with athletes. She did a lot of work with athletes, and I just thought her content was good and she'd be fun to work with. And she was saying to really look for the leucine content in protein powder. So as you're kind of picking a protein powder, it can be good to just make sure you're getting enough in there, because sometimes, especially when your protein needs go up, we will have to maybe supplement with a little bit of protein powder, like a protein drink in a day. Something like that is totally fine to do, but it'll be good to kind of track that and make sure you've got enough in there. And the last one is to support hormone balance. So, protein intake helps regulate hormones, especially regulating insulin and glucagon. Those help control blood sugar. So, blood sugar control is a very important part of our body losing fat. It also influences the hunger hormones ghrelin and leptin. And that is huge, because what is one of the biggest challenges in fat loss? It's getting hungry, managing your hunger, managing your blood sugar, fitting in less food into your day. All that can be challenging. So, again, that kind of goes back to protein having a really good satiating effect. Controlling the ghrelin and leptin that usually tend to go super crazy. They go super crazy really early on in fat loss, too. It's like they're immediately threatened and wanting you to get more food in your body. I think, we talk about all the time, our bodies are still kind of stuck like way back in the dark ages. They don't understand we've built all this muscle and we've done all these amazing things. And now we just want to like reduce a little bit of fat to kind of see the effects of that. So that is another, good reason to have protein to support the hormones that are kind of controlling and regulating all that for us.
And with all that being said, a good target, because we get asked this very regularly on like how much protein should I aim for? What is a good target goal? And I would say that for most people, aiming for at least, I would say, it was funny because I was having this conversation with Tom. I think for males, aiming for at least 50 grams for males in the main meals, and for females aiming for at least 30 grams in the main meals is a good starting point. A good starting point for most people that have no clue as to like what is a gram of protein. So 30 grams of protein would be the equivalent of what, five ounces of cooked chicken. 5 ounces of cooked chicken, so 5 ounces of raw chicken would end up being what, 3.5 ounces of cooked chicken. So it's really not that much, in the grand scheme of things, but at least start out with at least 30 grams in your main meals. You'll get some trace amounts if you're exercising, like what Trish suggested, protein shakes, a good quality protein shake can be helpful. I like to eat my calories, when possible, because that prevents the hangry. But otherwise, y'all go eat your protein and shed some fat, and we will see y'all next week. Hopefully this was helpful. Bye, everyone.